I was really thinking what to talk about this time considering fighting games. Why fighting games need modes that are not about fighting. Or why the future of fighting games relies on the casual player base. Until I realized both questions kinda cover the same topic, so let's get into them. Fighting games are one of the oldest games in the whole video game industry. Starting out in the arcade, many veterans still remember playing them not at home, but actually at the big machine in the arcade hall. That is because back then consoles and gaming PCs usually did not have enough power or were too expensive to play these games in the living room, especially when you're an 8 years old kid without any money. And this is what might surprise you. The people who walked into the arcade back then, who were they? Exactly, they were casuals, kids who just want to have fun. There was no internet where you could search for a combo guide, and labbing was not possible too. Players just learned while playing. PvP existed, but more often than not, people just wanted to beat high scores. With the rise of video games as a mainstream entertainment product, competing against other players became more easier. You only needed a console at home or a neighbor who had one. First we competed in the living room, later thanks to the internet in the whole world. The industry was growing, and so did the players. Now, part of growing up is that you always kinda keep a bit of your childhood in you, no matter how old you get. But with growing up, you also leave the innocent world of being a child without responsibilities, and maybe some of you older gamers might actually have a family now. And maybe some of you do know that you only have so much time a day to play fighting games. So then, how do you choose what to play? One word: identity. If you find a game that has a specific identity that resonates with yours, you automatically feel connected to it. You feel at home. You want to invest time into the game. I'm still playing The Lord of the Rings online sporadically. Why? Because I love the world Tolkien has created with his books. And I love Smash from the N64 until today, because of all the memories of my adventures in the countless worlds that Nintendo has created. Identity will make or break a game. If a game has no identity for you, you will most likely not invest in it. Let us take a look at Mortal Kombat 1's identity. What do people think when they hear the name Mortal Kombat? They will think about extreme violence and spectacular graphics. Some of the older generations will think about a pretty cool movie in the mid-90s, and some will probably think a good story mode for fighting game standards. What do people think about when they hear Smash Bros? They think about pure fun, throwing everything childhood into one arena and mixing it into pure chaotic joy. What do people think about when they hear Tekken? Probably Eddie the capoeira guy, a mini dinosaur and bears doing karate, and that old guy with the cool hair. What do people think about when they hear Killer Instinct? They probably think about the sick soundtrack of the game and how they listen to it even to this day. In case you have not realized by now, the majority is not thinking about the next big tournament that happened last night when they think about a fighting game. There are people doing this, but it is not the majority. The competitive scene is still a niche. It is growing, but if fighting games would not offer something for casuals, they wouldn't sell well and therefore die out. Thankfully, fighting games offer something for casuals pretty much ever since they exist. A recent trend in fighting games we can observe is the addition of lobbies where players can meet with avatars. Being more or less a more interactive menu in the game like Dragon Ball FighterZ, Street Fighter 6 came up with a full character creator, letting the player enter the world by himself. The Battle Hub would already have been a cool idea for most people probably, but Capcom did something very smart. Remember the word I said? Identity. Capcom has connected the players and the game's identity with World Tour mode, and this was a genius move. Now the players can actually invest themselves into the world of Street Fighter. You walk around the city and you talk to the original fighters, becoming their student, thus giving you, the player, the opportunity to learn more about their backstories and their character, increasing the bond you have with them through dialogue and text messages, and of course fighting. That again results in you being able to identify with, let's say, Ryu, resulting in you wanting to learn Ryu and play as Ryu in PvP. Because you're invested and you are resonating with your favorite character. Another trend we have seen in the past are party game modes. Smash is probably the best example. While having a solid competitive pro scene, the main theme of the game was always party and fun. Street Fighter had a car bonus stage ever since. Tekken has Tekken Ball, and believe it or not, Mortal Kombat actually had its own Mario Kart called Motor Combat. People loved Armageddon's Conquest mode and the Crypt in Mortal Kombat 11. They loved Tekken Force and Tekken 4. Without these modes, fighting games would not be where they are today. And this is why they are so important. Whether you are a pro player or a casual who just wants to have some loose fun for an hour or two. After some intense matches, it is relaxing to take a break and walk through the crypt. Or maybe you've just beaten the crap out of your best friend for the last 20 minutes. How can you make sure he will still play with you tomorrow? Play some Tekken Ball and he probably will forget what you just did to him. So we can see that game modes that are not about fighting can add to the identity of a fighting game, making the overall experience more fun for everyone, keeping the game alive and well. One last thing about casuals. Not every casual is actually a casual. I know casuals that are really good at the games they play. They just choose to stay casual, because they want fun, not sweat. Everyone starts out trying a new game casually until they make a choice to turn into a competitive player. I play Street Fighter 6 with modern controls on a controller, but I play Tekken on the arcade stick, and I will not play Special Style in Tekken 8, because I chose Tekken as the game for me to invest my time into the most, while still enjoying a bit of Street Fighter in my free time. I am happy with the fighting game situation at the moment. There is a massive amount of good games. They offer something for everyone. You can play all of them, but still choose where to become competitive and where to stay casual. You can also choose to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Sorry. The situation never has been better, whether you're just starting out or you're a long-time player. Fighting games will have something to offer for you one way or another. So go out there and enjoy them. My name is Judge Rekt and I will see you in the Tekken launch. Auf Wiedersehen.